Ready to nourish your spirit? Fantastic. As we dive deep into God's Word, we'd love for you to join our growing family. Hit that subscribe button, let us know what resonated in the comments, and share this truth with someone who needs it. Your engagement fuels this mission.
Be otherwise, since in this blessed society there is a continual receiving and returning of love and joy. But besides all the happiness that comes to us by our communion with God and with each other, it is to me a mighty happiness to understand all the deep mysteries of religion which the wisest in the world below could not fully understand. Here we discern a perfect harmony between those scripture texts that in the world below seem to oppose each other. And here we are especially filled with wonder and gratitude at discovering the divine goodness towards each one of us in particular. In respect to my former life on earth, I have seen the mercifulness of those very afflictions that I once, when upon earth, thought to show his anger. I am now fully convinced that no affliction that I met with in the world below, and I met with many, either came sooner or fell heavier or continued longer than was needful. My hopes were not disappointed, but God used all things to prepare me for a better eternal reward than what I had hoped for. Inexhaustible happiness. But I remember that you are still in the body and may be tired with hearing what I could forever tell. So great is the happiness that I possess. I shall add only one other thing about our happiness. Though a vast multitude of blessed souls partakes of this joy and glory, this does not make less of what each receives. For this ocean of happiness is so bottomless that the innumerable company of all the saints and angels can never exhaust it. Nor is this strange, for in the world below, everyone equally enjoys the benefit of light. There is no one that can complain that they enjoy it less, because another enjoys it also. All enjoy the benefit of light as fully as if no one else enjoyed it but themselves. If a multitude of persons drink of the same river, none of them is able to exhaust it, even though each of them has the liberty of drinking as much as he can. So whoever enjoys God enjoys him as much as he can contain, according to his capacity. Thus I have given you a brief account of our heavenly Canaan. It is not the 1,000th part of that which might be said, yet it is enough to let you see it is a land flowing with milk and honey. No more worldly relations. In this happy place, worldly relations cease. Nor is there male and female here, but all are like the angels. For souls cannot be distinguished into sexes, and therefore all relations are here, swallowed up in God. He had no sooner spoken than he took me by the hand. Then, far swifter than an arrow from a bow, we passed by several shining forms, clothed in robes of immortality, who looked at me as I passed them. He said to me, "Farewell, my friend. Your guardian angel will shortly come and bring you back to the world below." I drew near the shining form of a redeemed one that stood before me, who appeared extremely glorious, encircled with rays of dazzling luster. I hardly could behold her for the exceeding brightness of her face. She said to me, For what I am, to him that is on the throne be all the praise and glory. The robe of glory which you see me wear is only the reflection of his own bright beams. You appear to be one who feels the mighty joys that you speak of. She replied, You should not think this strange. The mighty wonders of divine love and grace will be the subject of our song forever. Here, all human relations cease and are swallowed up in God, who is alone the great Father of all this heavenly family. As for the members of the family that I left behind in the world below, I have committed them to God. I shall be glad to see them all heirs of this blessed inheritance. But if they should join with the grand enemy of souls and refuse the grace offered them and thereby perish in their unbelief, God will be glorified in his justice, and in his glory I shall still rejoice. Then I desired to know whether the saints in heaven understood and were concerned for what was happening in the world below. To this she replied, As to the affairs of particular persons, we are not concerned with them and are ignorant of them. Only God is present in all places and sees all things. But the struggles and the victories of the church below is told to us by the angels, who are ministering spirits sent forth to minister to those that shall be heirs of salvation. From what they report, we are excited to renew our praises to him that sits upon the throne. Chapter 6. Conducted to Hell. Then the bright messenger who had brought me to heaven returned. I have, said the angel, a commission to return you to the earth from where I took you, after first visiting the regions of the Prince of Darkness. There you will see the reward of sin, and what justice has prepared as the judgment of those who would exalt themselves above the throne of the Most High. To leave heaven for earth was extremely disappointing, but to leave heaven for hell turned my very heart within me. However, when I knew that it was God's good pleasure, I was a little comforted. So I said to my bright conductor, That which God has ordered I shall always be willing to obey. Even in hell I will not be afraid, if I may have his presence with me there. To this my shining guardian replied, Wherever the blessed God grants his presence, there is heaven, and while we are in hell, he will be with us. Then bowing low before the Almighty's throne, swifter than thought my guardian angel, carried me on a speedy journey down through the heavens. When I saw the stars, I told my conductor that I had heard on earth that each one of these stars had their own worlds. But I would ask you to tell me the truth of this matter. To this my shining guardian answered, To him who is almighty there is nothing impossible. But from knowing that it is in his power to do this, to argue that it is his will, is no good logic in the school of heaven. We know what he pleases to reveal to us, and what he has not revealed are secrets locked up in his own eternal counsel. For anyone to inquire into these secrets would be but bold and presumptuous curiosity. There is no doubt that he can make as many worlds as he wants, but he has not yet revealed it to us, and it is not our duty to inquire. On the borders of hell. By this time we had come down to the lowest regions of the air. There I saw multitudes of horrible forms and dismal dark appearances which fled from the shining presence of my bright conductor. I said, These surely are some of the vanguard of hell, so black and so frightening are their forms. My conductor replied, Now we are upon the borders of hell, and these are some of the apostate spirits that wander around like roaring lions. Soon we were surrounded with a darkness much more black than night, and with a stink far more suffocating than that of burning sulfur. My ears were likewise filled with the horrible yelling of the damned spirits, which in comparison with would make the most discordant notes on earth sound like beautiful music. In the center of the earth. Now, said my guardian angel, you are on the edge of hell, but do not fear the power of the destroyer. My commission is from the imperial throne that secures you from all danger. Here you may hear from devils and damned souls the cursed causes of their endless ruin. What you ask them about, they will answer. The devils cannot hurt you, though they would want to, for they are bound by him that has commissioned me. We then came within hell's territories, placed in the caverns of the infernal deep in the center of the earth. There, in a sulphurous lake of liquid fire, sat Lucifer upon a burning throne. His horrid eyes sparkled with hellish fury, as full of rage as his strong anger could make him. I saw that the demons that had fled from us as we approached from heaven had given notice of our coming. This had put all hell in an uproar, and made Lucifer release horrid blasphemies against the blessed God with an air of arrogance and pride. Lucifer speaks. What would the thunderer have, said he. He has my heaven already, whose radiant scepter this bold hand should bear. Instead of those never-fading fields of light, he confines me here in this dark house of death, sorrow, and woe. What would he take hell away from me too, that he insults me here? Ah, could I but obtain another day to try it, I would make heaven shake and his bright throne to totter. Nor would I fear the utmost of his power, though he had fiercer flames than these to throw me in. Although I lost the battle that day, the fault was not mine. No winged spirit in heaven strove better for the victory than I did. But he continued with a changed voice, that day is lost, and I am forever doomed to these dark territories. But it is still at least some comfort to me that mankind's sorrow waits upon me, and since I cannot fight against the thunderer, I will make the utmost of my anger to fall upon them. I was amazed to hear his ungodly speech, and felt compelled to say to my conductor, how justly are his blasphemies rewarded. What you have heard from this apostate spirit is both his sin and punishment. For every blasphemy he belches against heaven makes hell the hotter to him. 2 wretched souls. We then passed on to see more sorrowful scenes. I saw 2 wretched souls being tormented by a demon. He was continually plunging them in liquid fire and burning brimstone, while at the same time they accused and cursed each other. One of them said to his tormented fellow sufferer, "Oh, cursed be your face that ever I set my eyes upon you. My misery is due to you. I may thank you for this, for it was your persuasions that brought me here. You enticed me. It was you who ensnared me into this. It was your covetousness, cheating, and oppression of the poor that brought me here. If you had been as good an example as you had been a bad one, I might now be in heaven. Oh, what a fool I was. When I followed your steps, you ruined me forever. Oh, that I had never seen your face, or that you had never been born." The other wretch replied, "And may I not as well blame you? Don't you remember how at such a time and place you enticed me to go along with you? I was minding my own business when you called me away, so you are just as guilty as I. Though I was covetous, you were proud. Though you learned how to cheat from me, yet you taught me to lust, to lie, to get drunk, and to scoff at goodness. So although I stumbled you in some things, you stumbled me as much in others. Therefore, if you blame me, I can blame you just as much. I wish you never had come here. The very sight of you wounds my soul by bringing my sin afresh into my mind. It was with you that I sinned. Oh, grief to my soul, since I could not avoid your companionship on earth. Oh, that I could be without it here. From this sad conversation, I learned that those who are companions in sin upon earth shall also be punished together in hell. I believe that this was the true reason why the rich man seemed so charitable to his brethren, Luke chapter 16, verses 27 through 28. The reason he did not want them to join him in hell was because they would have increased his torments. Chapter 7. The tortures of hell. There were yet more tragic scenes of sorrow that we saw as we left these two cursed wretches accusing each other. The torments of a greedy soul. One woman had flaming sulfur continually forced down her throat by a tormenting spirit. He did this with such horrible cruelty and insolence that I said to him, "Why should you so delight in tormenting that cursed wretch and be pouring that flaming infernal liquid down her throat?" "This is a more than just reward," replied the demon. "This woman in her lifetime was such a greedy wretch that though she had plenty of gold, she could never be satisfied. Therefore I now pour it down her throat. She cared not who she ruined as long as she could get their gold. And when she had gathered together a greater treasure than she could ever spend, her love of money would not let her spend enough of it to supply herself with her basic living needs. She often went with an empty stomach, though her money bags were full. She kept no house because she would not be taxed, and she would not keep her treasure in her hands for fear she should be robbed. She would not put her money in bonds and mortgages for fear of being cheated, although she always cheated everyone that she could. She was so great a cheat that she cheated her own body of its food and her own soul of mercy. Since gold was her god on earth, is it not a just reward that she should have her belly full of it in hell?" When her tormentor had done speaking, I asked her whether this was all true. To this she answered me, "No, to my grief it is not." "Why is this not true?" I said, "and why are you grieved that it is not true?" "Because if what my tormentor told you is true," she said, "I would be satisfied. He tells you that he pours gold down my throat, but he's a lying devil and speaks falsely. If it was gold, I would never complain. But he mocks me, and instead of gold, he only gives me this horrid, stinking sulfur. If I had my gold, I would be happy still, for I value it so much that if I had it, I would not part with it, even if an entrance to heaven could be bought." I told my angelic conductor that I was amazed to hear a wretch in hell itself so greedy for riches while forever being tormented. "This," he said, "may convince you that it is sin which is the greatest of all evils. Whenever the love of sin controls a soul, it is the greatest of all punishments for them to be abandoned to that evil love. The love of gold, which this cursed soul is consumed by, is a far more fatal punishment than what the demons can inflict upon her here." "Oh," said I, "if only wicked men on earth could for one moment hear the horrid shrieks of those damned souls, they could not be in love with sin again. Eternal truth has told us otherwise. For those who will not fear his ministers, nor have regard to what his word contains, will not be warned, though one should come from hell." The wretchedness of a damned soul. We had not gone much further before we saw a wretched soul lying on a bed of burning steel, almost choked with brimstone. He cried out with such dreadful anguish and desperation that I asked my conductor to wait. I heard him speak as follows. "Oh, miserable wretch, undone forever, forever. Oh, this killing word, forever. Will not 1,000,000 years be long enough to bear that pain, which, if I could avoid it, I would not endure for even one moment, for the sake of being offered 1,000,000 worlds? No, no, my misery never will have an end. After millions of years, it will still be forever. Oh, what a helpless and hopeless condition I am in. It is this forever that is the hell of hell. Oh, cursed wretch, cursed to all eternity, how willfully have I undone myself. Oh, what stupendous folly I am guilty of, to choose sin's short and momentary pleasure at the dear price of everlasting pain. How often I was told it would be so. How often I was encouraged to leave those paths of sin that brought me to the chambers of eternal death. But I, like a dumb animal, would not listen to those pleadings. Now it is too late to change it, for my eternal state is fixed forever. Why was I made a person that I would choose this fate? Why was I made with an immortal soul, and yet should take so little care of it? Oh, how my own neglect stings me to death, and yet I know I cannot die. I live a dying life, worse than 10,000 deaths, and yet I once could have changed all this, but did not. Oh, that is the gnawing worm that never dies. I might once have been happy. Salvation was offered to me, and I refused it. Had salvation been offered to me only once, it would have been an unforgivable folly to refuse it. But salvation was offered me 1,000 times, and yet, wretch that I was, I still as often refused it. Oh, cursed sin, that with deluding pleasures leads mankind to eternal ruin. God often called, but I as often refused. He stretched his hand out, but I would not mind it. How often have I ignored his counsel? How often have I refused his reproof? But now the scene is changed. The case is altered. Now he laughs at my calamity and mocks at the destruction which has come upon me. He would have helped me once, but I would not accept his help. Therefore, those eternal miseries I am condemned to undergo are but the just reward of my own doing. I could not hear this sorrowful lamentation without thinking about the wonderful grace that God has shown to me. Eternal praises to his holy name. For my heart told me that I had deserved eternal judgment as much as that sad wretch, but that God's grace alone had made us different. Oh, how unsearchable are his counsels! Who can fathom his divine decree? After these thoughts, I spoke to the sorrowful complainer, and told him that I had heard his woeful complaints. I saw that his misery was great, and his loss irreparable, and told him I would willingly hear more about it if this might possibly help lessen his sufferings. No, not at all. My pains cannot be relieved even for one small moment. But by your question, I understand that you are a stranger here, and may you always be a stranger. Ah, had I but the least hope still remaining, how I would kneel and cry and pray forever to be redeemed from this hell. But it is all in vain. I am lost forever. But so that you will be warned about ending up here, I will tell you what the damned suffer. Chapter 8. A Lost Soul Speaks. Our miseries in this infernal dungeon are of two kinds. what we have lost and what we suffer. I will first speak about what we have lost. What we have lost. Number 1. In this sad, dark place of misery and sorrow, we have lost the presence of the ever-blessed God. This is what makes this dungeon hell. Though we had lost 1,000 worlds, it would not be as important as this one greatest loss. Could we but see the least glimpse of his favor here, we might be happy, but have lost it to our everlasting woe. Number 2. Here we have also lost the company of saints and angels, and instead have nothing but tormenting devils. Number 3. Here we have lost heaven too, the center of blessedness. There is a deep gulf between us and heaven, so that we are shut out from it forever. Those everlasting gates that let the redeemed into heaven are now forever shut against us. Number 4. To make our wretchedness far worse, we have lost the hope of ever obtaining a better condition. This makes us truly hopeless. Well, may our hearts now break, since we are both without hope and help. This is what we have lost, and if we think of these things, it is enough to tear and gnaw upon our miserable souls forever. Yet, oh, that this were all that our torments were. But we are also tormented by suffering and pain, as I will try to explain to you now. The sufferings of hell. Number 1. First, we undergo a variety of torments. We are tormented here 1,000, no, 10,000 different ways. Those that suffer upon the earth seldom have more than one affliction at a time. But if they had ulcers, gallstones, headaches, and fever all at the same time, would they not think they were very miserable? Yet all those together are but like the biting of a flea compared to those intolerable, sharp pains that we endure. Here we have all the sufferings of hell. Here is an unquenchable fire which burns us, a lake of burning brimstone that always chokes us, and eternal chains that bind us. Here there is utter darkness to frighten us, and a worm of conscience that gnaws upon us everlastingly. Any one of these is worse to bear than all the torments that mankind ever felt upon the earth. Number 2. But our torments here are not only various, but are also complete. They afflict every part of the body and torment all the powers of the soul. This makes what we suffer the worst of tortures. In those sicknesses which men have on earth, though some members of their bodies will suffer, yet other parts will have no pain. Here it is different. Every member of the soul and body suffers at the same time. Our eyes are tormented here with the sight of devils who appear in all the horrible shapes and black appearances that sin can give them. Our ears are continually tormented with the loud, continual yelling of the damned. Our nostrils are smothered with sulfurous flames, our tongues with burning blisters, and the whole body is rolled in flames of liquid fire. All the powers and faculties of our souls are also tormented here. The imagination suffers with the thoughts of our present pain and the memory of the heaven we have lost. Our minds are tormented as we remember how foolishly we spent our precious time on earth. Our understanding is tormented with the thoughts of our past pleasures, present pains, and future sorrows, which are to last forever. And our consciences are tormented with a continual gnawing worm. Number 3. Another thing that makes our misery so awful is the sharpness of our torments. The fire that burns us is so violent that all the water in the sea can never quench it. The pains we suffer here are so extreme that it is impossible for anyone to know them except the damned. Number 4. Another part of our misery is the ceaselessness of our torments. As various, as complete, and as extremely violent as they are also continual. We have no rest from them. If there were any relaxation, it might be some relief. But there is no easing of our torments, and what we suffer now, we must suffer forever. Number 5. The society or company we have here is another part of our misery. Tormenting devils and tormented souls are all our company. Dreadful shrieks, howlings, and fearful cursing are our continual conversation because of the fierceness of our pain. Number 6. The place we are in also increases our sufferings. It is the completion of all misery, a prison, a dungeon, a bottomless pit, a lake of brimstone, a furnace of fire that burns to eternity, the blackness of darkness forever, and lastly, hell itself. Such a wretched place as this can only increase our wretchedness. Number 7. The cruelty of our tormentors is another thing that adds to our sufferings. Our tormentors are devils in whom there is no pity. While they are tormented themselves, they still take pleasure in tormenting us. Number 8. All those sufferings that I have recounted are very grievous, but that which makes them the most grievous is that they shall always be forever. All of our intolerable sufferings shall last to all eternity. Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, is what continually sounds in my ears. Oh, that I could reverse that fatal sentence. Oh, if there was but a bare possibility of salvation. This is the miserable situation we are in, and shall be in forever. Chapter 9. Further Conversations. This wretched soul had scarcely finished what he was saying when he was tormented again by a hellish demon who told him to stop complaining. Tormenting memories. The demon said, "Don't you know you have deserved it all? How often were you told of this before but would not believe it? You laughed at those who warned you about hell. You were even so presumptuous as to dare almighty justice to destroy you. How often you called on God to damn you. Do you complain that you are answered according to your wishes? What an unreasonable thing. You know that you had salvation offered you, and you refused it. How can you now complain of being damned? I have more reason to complain, for you had a long time in which repentance was offered you, but I was cast into hell as soon as I had sinned. If I had been offered salvation, I would never have rejected it as you did. Who do you think should pity you now, with all that heaven had offered to you?" This made the wretch cry out, "Oh, do not continue to torment me. I know that I chose destruction. Oh, that I could forget it. These thoughts are my greatest torture. I chose to be damned, and therefore justly am so." Then turning to the demon that tortured him, he said, "But I also came here through your temptations, you cursed devil. You were the one that had tempted me to do all of my sins, and now you would reproach me? You say you never had a Savior offered to you, but you should also remember that you never had a tempter such as you have always been to me." To this the devil scornfully replied, "It was my business to lead you here. You had often been warned of this by your preacher. You were plainly told that we sought your ruin, and go about continually like roaring lions, seeking whom we could devour. I was often afraid you would believe them, as several other souls did, to our great disappointment. But you were willing to do what we wanted, and since you have done our work, it is but reasonable that we should pay you wages." Then the fiend tormented him again, and caused him to roar out so horribly that I could no longer stay to hear him. So I passed on. "How dismal," I then said to my conductor, "is the condition of these damned souls. They are the devil's slaves while upon earth, and he reproaches and then torments them for it when they come to hell." "The devils hate all the race of Adam," said my conductor, "and because many souls are ignorant of their devices, they easily succeed to bring them to eternal ruin. You will see more how the demons treat the damned here." The torments of hypocrites. Passing a little further, we saw a multitude of damned souls together, gnashing their teeth with extreme rage and pain, while the tormenting fiends with hellish fury poured liquid fire and brimstone continually upon them. In the meantime, they were cursing God and those about them, and were blaspheming in a tremendous manner. I could not help but ask of one demon that so tormented them, who were these souls that he tormented so cruelly. Said he, "These wretches well deserve their punishment. They tried to teach others the right road to heaven, while they were so in love with hell that they came here. These are those souls that have been our great helpers upon the earth, and therefore they deserve our special attention in hell. We use our full diligence to give every one their utmost share of torments, for they not only have their own sins to answer for, but also all the sins of those whom they led astray, both by their doctrine and example. Since they have been such great helpers for you, I would think that in gratitude you would treat them a little more kindly." To this, the imprudent friend answered me in a scoffing manner. "They that expect gratitude among devils will find themselves mistaken. Gratitude is a virtue, but we hate all virtue. Besides, we hate all mankind, and were it in our power, not one of them should be happy. It is true we do not tell them so upon earth, because there it is our business to flatter and deceive them. But when we have them here where they cannot escape, we soon convince them of their foolishness in serving us." From this, I could only think about what infinite grace it is that any poor sinners are brought to heaven, considering how many traps are laid by the enemy to ensnare them by the way. Therefore, it is a ministry well worthy of the blessed Son of God to save his people from their sins, and to deliver them from the wrath to come. But it is also folly and madness in men to refuse the offers of his grace, and to choose to side with the destroyer. A lecture from a devil. Going farther on, I heard a wretch complaining in a heartbreaking strain against those men that had betrayed him and brought him here. "I was told," said he, "by those that I depended on, and that I thought could inform me correctly, that if I said, 'Lord, have mercy on me,' when I came to die, it would be enough to save me. But oh, now I find myself mistaken, to my eternal sorrow. Alas, I called for mercy on my deathbed, but found it was too late. Before that time, this cursed devil here told me that I was safe. Then on my deathbed, he told me it was too late. Hell must forever be my portion." "You see, I did tell you the truth at last," said the devil, "and then you would not believe me. A very fitting end, don't you think? You spend your days enjoying sin and wallow in your filthiness, and you want to go to heaven when you die? Would anyone but a madman think that would be just? No, He that sincerely wants to go to heaven when he dies must walk in the ways of holiness and virtue while he is alive. You say some of your lewd companions told you that saying, "Lord, have mercy on me," when you came to die would be enough. A very fine excuse. If you had read the Bible, you would have known that without holiness, no one shall see the Lord. Therefore, if you were willing to live in your...
Thank you so much for watching and for spending this precious time in His presence. If this message uplifted you, please subscribe for more, comment your biggest takeaway, and share the goodness. Until next time, walk in His abundant grace.